going. Keep it going.
I can't.
Oh, we lost him. He didn't.
No.
No. This is
He'll
a
be back.
perfect. He'll be back. Look, see, he didn't want to have to explain himself on why I fleeced him on this NBA trade. That's crazy. That's crazy. He was like, he was about to get into it until I said, hey, we're about to go live. Keep it going. And he was like, oh, wait. Because he was about to incriminate himself in the court of law, Bert. I mean, that's crazy. Well, we have one half of JT and the Don. We have Don. Donato, last name?
Bucci.
Yeah, okay. Donato Bucci, the Don from JT and the Don. JT just popped up. Boom.
There we go.
There we go, guys.
We thought you was out here ducking the smoke, man.
I know. Look, you guys made me feel uncomfortable. You guys are shaming me for trades, fantasy basketball. So I didn't feel like I was safe in this environment, but I'm going to jump back in, be brave, stand on my own 2 feet. So we'll see how it goes.
Listen, we got a lot to get to. We're going to talk NFL playoffs. We're going to talk a tiny bit of NBA. We're going to do the Bucket of Doom Playoff Eliminator Challenge. So if you guys don't mind, we're about to get this thing started. Sports. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Stuff About Sports. I am the Facebook felon Germ. That is the prettier Corey Burt. And today we are joined by some illustrious guests. We have JT, Jimmy T, and Donato Bucci, the Don from JT and the Don podcast. What's up, guys?
How's it going, man? Thanks for having us. This is great. We're excited.
Yeah, man. We've been waiting for a long time to get on here, man.
I've been waiting for a long time to work with you guys. Follow them at JT and the Don on Instagram. You see it on the scroll down there. Support the people who support us. They're very good guys. They know what they're talking about. One of the very few sports podcasts. What's up, Mikey? Sports. What's up, Josh? Well, it's been a long time, Josh. Yeah, shout out to the University of Georgia. I'm not a big fan of them using live animals as mascots. I think it's a little cruel. That dog did not look happy. That dog's fat as hell. They got him trotting, the 99 yards around the field for people for clap at him. I don't think I like that. But yeah, we're gonna have a lot of fun today. These two are participating in the Bucket of Doom Playoff Eliminator Challenge. We'll get to that a little bit later. But first, NFL weekend, guys. We had a wonderful 18 weeks of NFL football. It is coming to a close, sadly, but the playoffs are starting. Are the 18 weeks of the NFL season the fastest 18 weeks in the calendar year? Got to be, right? All the time.
It's sad. It's sad.
It is. It is sad. It's like, I can't believe we're at the playoffs already, man. Like, it's 2022. I feel like 2021 just got here. It's like, it's unbelievable. So,
man, I don't know. I think it depends. I mean, look, as a Giant fan, a long 18 fucking weeks right there.
Oh, yeah.
But it all made up for it today. Or at least a couple hours ago when Joe Judge got the fucking boot.
That's Christmas for you guys.
Hey, Tommy Toughnuts, Joe Judge. Get the fuck out of New York City, you bum.
No. What do you want? So, I mean, Gettleman retires Sunday, and then he goes to ownership and says he wants a hand at replacing the new GM. And then finally, I mean, Mara was just like, yeah, we're gonna go in a different direction. And I can't wait. And I'll tell you why, and we'll get this when we talk about coaching. But I mean, my boy JT right there, he's wearing a Dolphins hat, and I've got my eyes on Brian Flores coming in. I need that to happen.
Listen,
talk about Brian Flores as much.
Don't talk about Brian
that's
Flores.
That's gonna be the pain in the side.
Look, I get it. Like,
that's triggering for me right now.
Half my family are Dolphin fans. I have two brothers and a father who's a Dolphin fan. So the second it happened, trust me, there were texts that went around going, "What is this organization doing, standing behind a quarterback that has yet to even scratch the surface on proving himself, versus a guy that just produced 2 winning seasons for the Dolphins and starting to look like it was turning things around, man." So yeah, it was, I mean, look, the whole sports world and football world is in agreement that this was one of the dumbest mistakes the Dolphins ownership could have possibly made. And yet here we are, lonely Giant fan waiting to reap the benefits of it. So that's where we are.
Say that. That's so on brand with what the Dolphins would do. We would do something like this. And I mean, every person that I know is a Dolphins fan is just, I mean, so pissed off. It's ridiculous. while we're making mistakes, the Giants are, doing all the right moves, getting rid of the GM and the coach. I mean, that is the best offseason move you guys could make, is getting rid of those
100%.
I've read articles though that defended the move of firing Brian Flores though.
Come on, man.
Who did?
I don't agree with them.
What do your eyes tell you?
I don't agree with them, but they made a compelling argument about the offensive side of the ball. They basically turned through offensive coordinators. They haven't been able to figure it out in 3 years. And at the end of the day, I agree he's the defensive guy, but when you're the head coach, they felt it kind of fell on him. I don't agree with it. I think he should definitely get more than 3 years, but I'm just saying there's people that are on the side of, or I guess agreeing or can see the point by the Dolphins, but I don't agree with it.
I just don't get how you fire a coach that is good at what his forte says he is. He's a defensive guy. Our defense has been amazing past 2 years.
Yep.
And since when do people get fired off of back-to-back winning seasons? Like, that makes no sense. Like, this is
he has a winning record as a coach, or does he not?
Yeah.
Or is he close?
I think it's 24 and 25, or like 23 and 25.
So somewhere he's hovering around 500, but
Yeah.
the team was actively tanking, and you can't turn around a team. And he changed the culture. He made the Dolphins contenders. So I guess we'll start with you, Jimmy. I mean, most impressive, biggest disappointment. I guess we kind of guess who your disappointment is.
Yeah, I mean, disappointment's got to be the Dolphins. I mean, what are we doing? I don't get it. Like, we were just saying, like, best coach we've probably had in years, best situation we've had in years. Like you said, we were actively tanking, so I really can't put his record against him as far as whether he should go or stay. But, I mean, who cares if the offense isn't working? Our offense sucks. Like, we have no O-line, no running backs, no skill position players. We got one guy, one short little guy that catches 5-yard passes, and he can make something happen. Other than that, we have nothing. Our quarterback is terrible. I'm sorry. I'm not one of those Tua fans, and Don will tell you, look, I think we tanked for the wrong guy. So the guy had no offense in Miami, and he still found a way to get it done. We just rattled off 8 straight wins. We're dominating the Patriots year in and year out. We're figuring out the Buffalo Bills. Like, we're in that division. And any other scenario, we probably should have been in the playoffs one of the past 2 years. So with that being said, I don't understand how the Dolphins would think about firing this guy. Like, if anything, it should be Chris Greer, but that's just my opinion. But definitely Dolphins' most disappointing move, getting rid of a coach who I think was getting us over the hump. And if you ask around the league with people who know what they're talking about, they would say he's a coach of the year candidate.
It hurts that it doesn't help their case that Justin Herbert and Joe Burrow were also in that draft. And I don't think anybody with eyes could have watched anything that they did and say, yeah, Tua was better than them. I get that he was in Alabama and he gets all the shiny stuff and the bright lights. But if you watch Justin Herbert at Oregon and you watch Joe Burrow at LSU, I mean, you couldn't make an argument to me. And I don't follow much college football, and I know that those two were better than him. Don, who most impressive, biggest disappointment?
Most impressive, it's going to be an unpopular choice, but it was the Chargers. They converted 6 fourth downs in that fourth quarter. I know they got the loss, but next, can I say this next gen stats on this show? I don't know. Do we?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Next gen stats says for that to have happened, it was 1 in 8,123. So, like, we're never probably going to see that again, where there's 6 fourth down conversions in the fourth quarter. So, to me, that was the most impressive. They ended up losing, but just to get into overtime, I mean, that's amazing. People will talk about that fourth quarter and overtime for a long, long time. And then biggest disappointment, I got to go with a team that I like, the LA Rams. They were up 17-0 against a team they've struggled to beat for a while now. And they went from the number 2 seed to the number 4. So instead of getting the Eagles flying across country, they now have to play a divisional foe in the Cardinals in Kyler Murray, who you never know what he can do. And the divisional game now will be a lot more difficult because now they possibly can go at Green Bay instead of hosting. If they win the wild card weekend, they could have been hosting the divisional had they stayed at the number 2 seed. You've got Stafford still throwing interceptions. You have the defense falling apart at the end. I mean, they've got to be crushed right now, almost feeling like this isn't even a playoff game for them because that was devastating.
Yeah. The Rams, I'm going to get to them a little bit later. I'm going to save it. Bert, what you got? Most impressive, biggest disappointment?
It pains me to say what the most impressive was, but I'm looking at a team and a quarterback in particular that basically had it wrapped up division-wise, but still poured it on to. I'm talking about the Cowboys and Dak Prescott. I mean, you won't see a cleaner game than what he had on Sunday, going 21 for 27, throwing for almost 300 with 5 touchdowns. Man, dude is just an absolute beast. And again, as a Giant fan, it pains me to say because he does wear silver and blue, but to the same point, I mean, you've got to give respect where it's due as well. Biggest disappointment. Look, I honestly, I know as Don just mentioned in terms of the Chargers, I was just kind of disappointed in their overall play, and especially coaching and how they finished the game. I mean, look, I give all the credit to the Raiders for sticking it out, even through and through overtime too, man. But I think I just expected more out of that offense in terms of just locking it up. Is what it comes down to. If I were to put money on that game even before like the first snap, I would have said definitely the Chargers are taking it home 100%. But I mean, obviously, look, that's why you play any given Sunday, and it turned out differently. And congrats to the Raiders for earning that playoff berth. But man, it's got to be disappointing as a Chargers fan right now.
For sure. My biggest disappointment is the Indianapolis Colts, and I should have known better. I should have known better to trust Carson Wentz. Old paper knees out there. I mean, damn, like you're always going to land on this list when you have a shot to win and get into the wild card. And all you had to do was beat the Jaguars, bro. Yeah. Trevor Lawrence is not good. You want to talk about Tua being overdrafted? Trevor Lawrence ain't good.
We're going to have an argument about that.
There's a difference, and I'm going to explain why. I'm a Bills fan, and I like the Bills. To me, had the perfect rebuild in the last 10 years. Nobody believed in Sean McDermott when they hired him, and nobody believed in Brandon Beane as a GM, and nobody absolutely believed in Josh Allen when they drafted him, especially when they traded up. Josh Allen is a top 5 quarterback in the league now. Sean McDermott, top 10 coach. I'm not gonna overrate him. He's top 10 somewhere. And Brandon Beane has to be one of the best GMs based on what he's done with the Bills. When Josh Allen's first rookie year, it was bad. I will say it. It was bad, but there were flashes of like, holy shit. Like if he can get that under control, it can be great. There was always flashes of that. And you see that in a lot of young quarterbacks. There's not one game I've watched of Trevor Lawrence where I said, oh yeah, that's why they drafted him. He hasn't done anything special. He's just been okay. And I get it. He plays for the Jags, but Gardner Minshew had better stats than Trevor Lawrence did. He left out of there with 37 touchdowns, 11 interceptions with a 65% completion percentage, and he had bums there. Nobody. So and I get it. The Jags are a shit show, and it's hard to judge players from that organization. But I'm not saying that Gardner Minshew is some hidden gem either. But if the bar is Gardner Minshew and you're not leaps and bounds better than that, then something's wrong. Something's wrong here. Brendan,
you're not giving him the Urban Meyer pass.
Hell no, I'm not giving him the Urban Meyer
come
pass.
on, you got to. Urban Meyer is so bad. Like, he doesn't use anybody correctly. That team was so bad. Honestly, I think you could put anybody but maybe 4 or 5 guys on that team with Urban Meyer, and they're all going to struggle. Like,
only reason I say that, and I agree, but in the NFL, more than other than maybe basketball, the quarterback can cover up the deficiencies of a bad coach. Aaron Rodgers did it for Mike McCarthy and won a Super Bowl off of it. If your quarterback is good enough, it will always cover up those deficiencies.
You're right, but he can't cover up for both quarterback or talent deficiency and coaching deficiency, and that's what happens at Jacksonville. And can I also? I know it's your show, so with all due respect, if I could challenge you on the rebuild. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers did a real quick rebuild and got a Super Bowl out of it.
They did a Yankees rebuild. I don't know. That doesn't count. That doesn't count.
Whoa. How does that can't count as a Yankees because
it's one guy.
Buccaneers were awful. Like, they're not known to be a perennial powerhouse. So
I got you.
I love the way Buffalo did. I'm just saying, in the past 10 years, Tampa's got to get some accolades.
I agree with him though. I like the way the Bills did their rebuild though. It's kind of like, I look at McDermott as what the Dolphins could have been with Flores if they would have let it play out. Defensive guy came in, knows his stuff, got the right quarterback, and sky's the limit. Like, that's how you do it.
Brandon DeWitt says, "Thank you, Jags." He is a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, so he's happy. He's happy the Jags kept the Colts out. He should be thanking the Brandon Staley, coach of the Chargers, as well. Flores didn't deserve to be fired at all. Joshua Perez says, "As an Eagles fan, I hope the Giants select him." Hey, listen.
Josh says, as an Eagles fan, he hopes the Giants don't select him.
Don't select him, but hey, to go from Joe Judge is our guy, like at the beginning of the day, to all of a sudden firing him at the end of the day that Brian Flores gets fired, or whatever, like right after. I mean, that's strange. Listen, I'm not, obviously I'm not Adam Schefter here, but yeah, it's a strange thing. My biggest or my most impressive is the Detroit Lions. I've been singing the Detroit Lions praises all year round. They went out. Obviously, they didn't beat the full Green Bay Packers, but the reason why I'm impressed is because they didn't play for the number one pick. They didn't play to lose. They wanted to go out and win, and that's Dan Campbell. And me and Bert have been singing Dan Campbell's praises. That's how you do it. The Lions have been bad for 30 years. And it's going to take him 3 or 4 years to completely turn that around. But he's already accomplished the most important part. The city and the players love him. And they went out there to win the game. Most teams, you see Joe Judge, who was scared, doing a QB sneak on a 3rd and 9. Nobody believes in him. Like, it's unbelievable. But Dan Campbell has the pulse of that team. And that's, to me, that's very, very impressive. They knew they could have got the number one pick. And listen, maybe a lot of people are saying that the Jags, even if they got the number 2 pick, the Jags weren't going to select a quarterback number 1. So, if they still wanted a quarterback, they could have got him at number 2, whatever. It doesn't matter. They went out and won the game. They wanted to win the game. They were doing double reverse, flea flickers, annexation of Puerto Rico plays. You know what I mean? Like, they were leaving it all out there. And that's really impressive to me. And Dan Campbell has impressed me all year, because it hasn't been like they've been getting blown out all year. They've played a lot of competitive games. They just don't have the talent. And maybe Dan Campbell's coaching style will attract good free agents and not money-hungry free agents. All right, so now we talked about Dan Campbell as a coach. We talked about Brian Flores. JT, what is the best coach opening option out there right now?
Or damn sure ain't us, so I'm not going to choose the Dolphins. Like, nobody, please don't come. If you got career aspirations, don't come to this dumpster fire. We got a shitty owner, excuse my language, and the GM who I'm not even convinced he knows what he's doing. So they're out. I'm actually going to go with the team that is, to me, I thought they were a top attraction last year. They just got the wrong guy, and maybe they could right the ship, and it's the Jags. Like, the Jaguars are the dreamland of what I would want if I were a coach. They got everything already there. You got regardless of what you say, they got the franchise quarterback already. He's there. They got the number 1 pick again. Don't know how the hell they did that. And they got 2 things I love. They got draft picks, and they got cap space next year. I think they're 3rd next year in cap space. Like, you're literally walking into a winning situation. You just don't have to be an idiot like Urban Meyer was, and this will probably be a good thing for you if you're a coach.
Don?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Minnesota Vikings. They got rid of Zimmer, and I think the only downside to them is they are going to be 11 million over the cap. But in this day and age, that's why you got a capologist. You can restructure, you can cut guys. So I think it's Minnesota, because all those other jobs, maybe besides Jacksonville, whether it's the Giants, whether it's the Bears, those are all major cities, national markets, big media. And if you're a coach nowadays and you want to survive, you want to go to that place that nationally people kind of forget, but perennially Minnesota Vikings have always been competitive. And they're in one of the worst divisions, we can say, outside of Aaron Rodgers. And if Rodgers gets traded, guess what? Minnesota may be the best team in that division. Usually teams fire their coach and it's a bad team. It's a bad situation. That is not true with Minnesota. They went 8-9. They have possibly what some consider at least a very good or at least above average quarterback. Then you have the weapons. You got Jefferson, Cook with Madison behind them. You've got a good tight end, and you got Thielen. Defensively, they're always pretty good. And if you go to like any of these other places, there's tradition. The 85 Bears, the Giants with Eli, back to Parcells. In Minnesota, they've got the 1970s when they went 0-4 in the Super Bowl. If you can just win there, if you can get to the playoffs 2 out of every 3 years, you will have a job security for a long time in Minnesota compared to all these other places.
Bert.
I mean, look, both good points. To be completely honest with you, Vikings wise, like you said, they have all the weapons there. So you just need a guy, particularly defensive specials, because if you look at their season, I mean, they had a lot of losses. I think 13 out of their 17 games was decided by one possession, and a lot of those losses just coming from one score in itself. And then, look, I would love to sit here and say my Giants, because why not? You're starting with a blank slate, right? GM's going to come in, they're going to handpick a coach, so somebody's going to be buddying, and as a coach, you'll be able to come in and kind of do it your way, so to speak. But if you look at our unfortunate ownership's history of making decisions, particularly with GMs and keeping them around for 4 years when they should have been fired after one, then you'd be off that. So I'm going to go to a place that has a lot of young talent. A lot of draft picks and a lot of cap space, and that's Denver.
That's a good
new
job.
GM from this past year, but a lot of cap space, really young roster, and they have 11 picks in the draft. So you want to talk about a coach who wants to come in, especially one that does want to build and prove it. I think that's the place.
Yeah, Bert. I was leaning Denver. I actually put Vegas down here in my notes with an asterisk, but I think if I can't remember the damn interim coach's name, but if
Rich,
he goes and
Rich,
Don, you know his name.
Yeah.
Yo, you guys can't be.
You know his name. Come on, you've been on me all week about mispronouncing his name. Go ahead, tell him the guy's name.
Bisaccia.
There we go.
Bisaccia. Now I like him. And everything you read, the team loves him. I think if they go and win the wild card game, I think they'll give him the job. I really do. So I put an asterisk there. But and Denver is also on my list. But Don, I'm with you. I think it's the Minnesota Vikings. Say what you want about Kirk Cousins. He's the number 5 rated quarterback in the league. He's always consistently in the top 10. The problem is when he loses, it's at the worst possible time. He just is the most consistent big game loser, and it undercuts all the good he does. But that team literally is ready to win. Mike Zimmer is a bad coach. And I know the record doesn't show it, but Kirk Cousins isn't out there single-handedly losing them games. His stats are off the charts in most of the categories. Their defense wasn't any good this year. That's the problem. They had injuries on defense, and their defense just flat out wasn't that good. If they can fix that with either the draft or free agency, I think, and then a coach who isn't as conservative, I think you have a different ball game here. Kirk Cousins obviously has the ability to push the ball downfield. They have a good running game. Fix the offensive line and get some pass rushers that can actually help Kirk Cousins out, because nobody's out there, saying Kirk Cousins is Joe Montana or Patrick Mahomes, but he's definitely a guy that can win you football games. He's won a lot of football games. But I think over Denver, I think their running game is better than Denver's. I think they have better receivers than Denver's, and that's why Minnesota, to me, edges out Denver. And the only other team that could rival it is Las Vegas, like I said. But I'm pretty sure they're gonna hire Bisaccia, and I think that'll be that.
Yeah, and Jerm, the Vikings have the number 12 overall pick. So they can go a lot of different ways. If they want to build for the future with Cousins going into his last year on the contract, there's going to be guys, probably Kenny Pickett, Matt Corral, one of those guys will be there. Or like you said, if they want to build with O-line or go another way. So I think that flexibility is why it's also a very desirable, probably the most desirable spot.
I think that's a trap job, to be honest with you. Same thing.
You think every job's a trap job.
well, some of them are. That's why they're open. But,
so why do you think it's a trap job?
Well, I think Minnesota is a trap job because I think you're going there thinking that you are one piece away from making it to a Super Bowl. You got to think, the Minnesota Miracles, 3 years ago? Was that 3 years ago? That was with Case Keenum. Like, what has changed on that team? Nothing. Like, I just think that their defense
have gotten worse.
They have, and I tell Don this all the time. Mike Zimmer's been on my hot list for 3 years. I think there was a game a couple years ago where they played the Rams on a Thursday night and they got annihilated. And I think ever since then, their defense has been not good. Like, they've been exposed. But I just don't think you can trust all those guys to, one, stay healthy and produce at the same time when it matters. Like, you just brought up all the stuff about Cousins. Like, he always wets the bed at the worst time. Dalvin Cook. Will he be injured? Will he not? Adam Thielen's getting older. Like Justin Jefferson's a stud, but that's one guy. Like,
but see, that's the great thing about Minnesota. You've got Madison in case Cook goes down, and you've got now guys like KJ Osborne that are stepping up when Thielen's been out.
You're really basing your coaching career on, like, you know what? If everything goes to hell, like KJ Osborne's got my back.
He's the number 2.
That's a good thing. He couldn't even start at you.
Yeah, because I've got Justin Jefferson.
I think that's a trap. I think Denver's a trap too, because
like Jacksonville is not. Pull up the history on Jacksonville.
I think Jacksonville has the one thing that those two places don't. One, you can go there and put your own imprint, so you'll probably have more time. Like, you go to Denver, they're expecting you to win now because, like, they think they're one piece away. Same thing with the Vikings. They think they're one piece away. Like, if you go there and do worse than Zimmer, you'll be gone in 2 years. Same thing with Denver. Like, you have to win now. Like, they think they're ready.
Yeah, the window on them is closing simply because of Kirk Cousins' contract. Like, at that point, who's going to be available? You know, like, there's nobody really available that, and I know a lot of people don't like Kirk Cousins, but if you really look at the numbers, there's really nobody else that can come out available that's better than him. The only, you know, in terms of rated quarterbacks, Tom Brady's number 1, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, and Aaron Rodgers are the only ones above him. And the ones behind him are Josh Allen, Kyler, Dak, Ryan Tannehill, and Jalen Hurts to round out the top 10. All those guys are not going anywhere. So, I mean, what do you do? Do you extend him again? It's Minnesota's in a funky situation, and it's gonna be very interesting to see what they do. All right, guys. Super Bowl's coming up in a couple weeks. Wild Card Weekend coming up this weekend. We have the Packers in the NFC. We have the Titans in the AFC. JT, who are the biggest threats to each team in their conferences?
All right, so I guess I'll start with the NFC. I think it's the 49ers. And it's not even close. And me and Don talk about this all the time. Nobody wants to see the 49ers in the playoffs because they might be the most physical team in the league. I mean, they have 2 guys on their team that are dogs. I mean, probably Debo and Kittle are probably the most physical dudes on the planet. And they play on the same team, and you got to tackle them. So, in this, like, it's not going to happen. So, Packers kryptonite, you've seen it for a couple years. They can't stop the run. Rams can't stop the run. Cardinals can't stop a nosebleed. So, like, when you can run the ball in the playoffs, like, that's where it is. Like, it's the Niners. They shorten games. They can beat you anywhere, at home, on the road. And
AFC,
I really don't want to do this because I feel like it's going to make me look even stupider than picking the Niners. I think it's the Bengals. And I think the reason is because the Titans are number 1 seed, so which means everything got to go through them. I think the Titans, in some weird way, they have the Bills number because I really want to pick them because I actually like Josh Allen. Yeah. So I think it's the Bengals because, like, they're the unknown and they have a defense that's really good against the run. I think they're like 4th in the league with, like, for run defense this year. And also, too, they have the one offense in the AFC that I actually believe in if things get tough. Like, I don't trust the Chiefs. I love Josh Allen, but I don't trust the Bills. Like, Titans offense is garbage. Like, the Bengals could go into your stadium and put up 40 and you're going home. So I think they would be the biggest threat. I wouldn't want to see them if I was an AFC team.
Don. He's only saying the Bengals because I'm a Steelers fan, by the way. So
All right, I'll change my answer. The biggest threat is Ben Roethlisberger with 3-yard slants. Najee Harris 2.5 yards a carry. That's the biggest threat because they're gonna be slow as hell. You're gonna run like 20 plays, Super Bowl 1 type stuff. That's the biggest threat.
Death by 1,000 paper cuts, man. That's the way we like to do it.
Nah, just one.
In the NFC. JT gave the formula, but it's the Cowboys. The Cowboys can run, whether it's, they've got Zeke, if Tony Pollard comes back, and now they've been even running, I think, is it Corey Clement, I believe?
He's still in the league?
He's been their third back. He's been their third back, I think. And I think what makes them more dangerous than the Niners, JT, is that who do you trust with the game on the line? You got to make a throw. Jimmy G or Dak to CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper and now Cedric Wilson, even with Gallup out.
You want me to answer?
And Dallas and Schultz, right? Yeah, you're gonna take Dak, all right. If you take Jimmy G, they should cut your mic if you pick Jimmy G
over Mike McCarthy. That's who I trust.
So the Cowboys are built for the cold. And look, everything is about the Packers, right? Biggest threat, Cowboys are built for the cold. They have a great defense and they can
Cowboys
run
are
the
built for the
ball.
cold?
It doesn't matter
Playing
where
indoors?
it doesn't matter where you live, JT. When you can run the ball and play defense, you can win in any weather. All right. And then, sorry, Jerm, for the AFC, I'll be quick. It's the Chiefs. They've already beaten the Titans before in the playoffs. The Chiefs are in the Titans' head. You still got Mahomes. I'm taking Mahomes over Tannehill. Is Derrick Henry even going to be 100%? We don't know. They couldn't beat the Chiefs with Derrick Henry in the past. So I don't trust the Titans in the AFC title game against the Chiefs because they're the top 2 seeds. I mean, look at what the Houston Texans did to that pass defense. Can you imagine what the Chiefs are going to do?
And Rex Burkhead, they let Rex Burkhead run all over them. That's insane. Rex Burkhead, ladies and gentlemen, it's embarrassing.
He just got extended though, so he got talent.
Yeah, it's in Houston. That doesn't really count. Adam Thatcher says not Dak. Yeah, we're gonna get to that in a little bit too. I got something for Dak. Bert.
I'm going to be completely honest with you. I agree 100% with what Don said. I don't like it, but I mean, when
Neither do I.
Look at it at the end of the day, they're the ones that are certainly going to give Green Bay a run for their money. Now, the only other alternative in that group of teams is Tom Brady and the Bucks. But I mean, honestly, the way Dak has been playing is just insane. And the only thing the Cowboys really have to focus on is making sure Mike McCarthy doesn't make any stupid coaching decisions. But on top of that, making sure their defense actually shows up because they can be a leaky faucet too, man. Man, moving to the other side in the Titans, they're listed as the 1 seat, but I honestly think that, I mean, they ain't shit, to be honest with you. So, I mean, you could look at a couple teams here. I agree with JT. The Bengals, certainly with the way they've been playing too, and I'm not just doing this as a homer because Germ is Germ. You have to take strong consideration with the Bills. And here is why. They were there a year ago. You have the same core group of guys. You have the same coach. You have a team that's done it before and knows what to expect. So I have to put some faith in that too. Some people make the argument for the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs are washed. I do. I don't think they have it. I honestly wouldn't be shocked. Don, you're going to love this one. If they don't make it past the Steelers, that's how much. Now, granted, yes, Ben is old. The Steelers are slow, but I mean, KC just looks washed to me. They do. I'd be nervous if I was a Chiefs fan right now.
Yeah, I was going through I'll start. The AFC is easy. It's the Buffalo Bills, and it's because they're the only team in the playoffs that are top 5 in defense and top 5 in offense. We slacked in the middle of the season there, had a couple of bad losses. The thing that scares me is teams that can run on us is our biggest weakness, but we fixed that up a little bit in the last couple of weeks. The Chiefs have won a couple of close games, and some games they probably had no business winning. And they had a cupcake schedule, and obviously that's not their fault. They play whoever's in front of them, but they haven't looked dominant. And the only team that does worry me is the Titans because they literally do what Bills are bad against, right? Their number one thing is the run. So Derrick Henry coming back and possibly being healthy kind of scares me a little bit. But the Bills definitely have everything you need. There's not one person in the playoffs that can do what Josh Allen can do. Nobody has the combination of size, strength, and arm talent. There's obviously Patrick Mahomes has the arm talent and he has the mobility, but he's not nearly as strong, right, as Josh Allen is. That pass that Josh Allen made the other day on the Jets and to the corner to Stephon Diggs. Give me another quarterback in the league that could do that. Nobody. The Bills need to stop getting cute. That's their downfall. They're too smart for their own good. You have an atomic warhead at quarterback, and you're trying to turn him into a super soaker and play super conservative. This is the time you let him loose. Let him just destroy people. He's hurdling over guys. He's stiff-arming Aaron Donald. Just let him take the hits. He's built for that. That's what you drafted him for. So he's the biggest threat. In the NFC, it's got to be Tampa Bay and the Buccaneers. It's Tom Brady. I will never doubt Tom Brady. I've seen him for 20 years in New England, and it's the playoff time. It's big boy pants time, and that's where Tom Brady shines. He doesn't care about Antonio Brown. He's won with tiny little white guys in New England for 20 years. I think he can manage just fine with Mike Evans and Gronkowski and all the other guys he has. Josh Perez also agrees with me. He says the Bills and Bucks too. I was tempted to do 49ers. I think the Dallas Cowboys are in trouble. I don't think they make it out of wild card weekend. I think 49ers are built to take out the Cowboys, and they're the Cowboys. I mean, let's be real here. I mean, let's be real. They're the Cowboys. They are going to cowboy it up at some point. I don't care how good of a season they have in the regular season. I don't care how impressive Dak Prescott looks, and I don't care how awesome Ezekiel Elliott and Amari Cooper look, and how many interceptions Trayvon Diggs has. That team, as long as Jerry Jones draws breath and owns that team, they will fuck it up because they're the Cowboys. So it'll be an interesting playoffs. All right. So NFL title game predictions. JT, we just went through some of the threats. So give us your title predictions for the AFC game, NFC game, and then the Super Bowl.
All right, so you kind of talked me into this, and plus you got the man's jersey behind you. So Superman, I'm hoping he comes through.
Yeah.
I don't think the Titans are a number 1 seed, but like I said, I do think they have the Bills number, but I'm still sticking with my Bengals because I think there's something there. I think they're telling you, man, like something special is about to happen, and I think it's going to be them versus the Bills. If the Bills can overcome the Titans, I think that's going to be like telling for them in this playoff. So I got those two in the AFC, and in the NFC, I got the 49ers and the Rams rematch.
Ooh, Don.
I've got Chiefs at Titans, and then Cowboys at Packers. So the two threats can get there based on their seeding. And do I have to pick a winner right now in those games?
No.
Oh, okay.
If you want to, you can. If you want to pick the Super Bowl, it's up to you.
Is Jerry Jones paying you? Because I've never seen you cape up this much for the Cowboys ever. Like, what the hell is going on?
I want to know why you're
all of a sudden they're a cold weather team. They can play. They can play
why
up
are
in
you
Buffalo.
Picking, why are you picking the Bengals? Go through the history of the NFL. No young team in their first year in the playoffs with a second-year quarterback and a rookie receiver and Zach Taylor as their coach go make it to the Super Bowl. They're going to lose in their first game. Like,
I hear you,
this is what the Bengals
AFC
do,
has never
and you
been
need
this
to
open.
get
The AFC
you
has
need
never
to
been
take
this
your
open.
lumps before you get to the promised land. Every team has done in the history of the NFL, whether it's the 70 Steelers, 80 49ers, 90 Cowboys, whatever it's been.
And that's the point. And that's the point. You're talking about history. Yes, when AFC number 1 and 2 seeds were those teams, were the Steelers who were really good, the Baltimore Ravens, Tom Brady up in Foxborough. Like, yeah, if those guys were the number 1 seed, I'd be like, oh yeah, the Bengals are going to mess up somewhere. It's the Titans with no Derrick Henry, and AJ Brown might not even make it to the game. Like he's probably in bubble wrap right now. Like that's the number 1 seed. Like what AFC team do you trust?
You realize they play the Bills in the divisional playoff game, right?
Sorry? Oh,
the Bengals will play the Bills in the divisional playoff game.
Adam Thatcher says, how can you pick the Cowboys?
They were on the side with the Chiefs.
No.
Go ahead, Jerm.
Looks like the way they have it stacked, I think potentially Bills would catch Bengals in the divisional.
Yeah, then I gotta change that. Then I do think the Bills would win that game. So I really don't want to pick a team from the other side. That other side is just I don't trust it. Can I go with the Steelers just to make you happy so you'll leave me alone?
I won. I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah.
No, seriously. Like if it's the Steelers, Chiefs, and the Titans, I think that's the road to have. I mean, I don't trust those two teams, so the Steelers could get there. So just for fun, you guys can make fun of me later. I'll pick Steelers versus Bills. There we go. I'll make both of you guys happy.
There you go. Adam Thatcher says, how can you pick the Cowboys? They have to win 4 straight playoff games. They haven't won 4 straight playoff games in the last 25 years. Hey, listen, I didn't do it. I told y'all the Cowboys are going to cowboy. 49ers and Rams play. No, the 49ers play the Cowboys and the Rams play the Cardinals. So, like I said, it's going to be curtains, shades, and vertical blinds for the Cowboys here. So, Bert, what do you got?
Man, I'm going Bills Titans. Bills going to the bowl. I just kind of the way I see that whole division working out. And NFC was tough though. You have to assume that the Packers are going to be there. I'd probably go Packers, Rams, and then with the Packers advancing.
Yeah, Packers. I think they're. I think that's. I know you guys said that the NFC can't really pick it. I think you can. I think the Packers are leaps and bounds better than everybody in that conference. I have the Bills and Bengals in the AFC title game because the Bills are going to beat the Chiefs after we beat up on the Patriots, and the Chiefs are going to beat up on the Steelers, and then the Bengals are going to beat the Titans. And I really do in a close game. I think Joe Burrow's going to step up. That team, you want to talk about rebuilds. That team's done it right too. I know Zach Taylor didn't start off hot, but how he's turned that team into a juggernaut all of a sudden is crazy. And then I have the Bucks and the Packers in the NFC title game, and then I have the Packers obviously winning, and then I have the Bills and Packers in the Super Bowl, with obviously the Bills winning. And I use nothing but science and none of my fandom to pick that. So we're moving on. So, man, this is what oh no, not yet. We're not doing this yet. Fair or foul. Here we go. I forgot that I made the graphic for it. All right, fair or foul. Basically, I'm going to read you a statement. You just let me know if it's fair or foul, and if you have any commentary for it, then please add. Starting with JT, fair or foul. Players who boo fans that boo them.
It's fair. Like I don't care who's booing who. Like you suck, you get booed. That's what it is.
Yeah, no, the fans obviously feel like they can do whatever they want. They can spit on you. But is it okay for players who because we've recently seen this with Julius Randle, Javier Baez, Tobias Harris, who are basically like flipping off fans whenever they start playing well. It's like, don't cheer for me now. Okay, cool. So it's fair for
all the way.
Don.
I think it's foul. Just play better and they won't boo you.
Gotcha. Bert?
Yeah, that's 100% fair. 100%. Like, look, athletes, they're going to play. I get, if you're playing bad, they're going to boo you. But guess what? I mean, if you turn it around, like, listen, if you didn't love them at their worst, you don't get them at their best. So,
I'm not a fan of booing your own team. I don't care how bad they're playing. Typically, berating your player constantly when they're struggling because they know they're struggling isn't going to help them play any better. However, I do understand as it's your right as a fan, if that's how you want to express it, go for it. What you can't do is get pissed off when Javier Baez flips you off either, when he starts hitting bangers or when Tobias Harris finally starts playing well. Then you can't get all butthurt because and you stupid idiot fans out there, my ticket sales pay for your salary. Well, not really. Like ticket sales account for like 15% of the team's revenue. So your bullshit little baby dick ticket doesn't really matter, buddy. How about you go sit on the couch because you couldn't even make a YMCA team? You're criticizing Tobias Harris because he can't make a turnaround jumper. Like Sixers fans are the worst. Okay,
well, listen,
they got to shoot 100% all the time and play 1,000-minute games and be perfect, and then they won't boo. Guys,
we're all armchair experts when it comes to our favorite sports team. You can't just sit here it's one thing if you want to boo them. It's another thing you'd be like, oh, what are you doing? You should have hit that better. Yeah, it's what we're supposed to do. We're sports fans in itself. But I will give it to you in the fact that it's just like, no, let's just deal with it. They're going to boo back, give fingers. That's fine. I honestly want that in my professional athletes. I want someone to get so fired up, they get pissed off to where they start playing better. And then they show us like, yeah, you know what? Maybe I should have just shut my mouth on that one. Or maybe the booing helped them. I think it's win-win.
Even if it whatever motivates the player. Like if he wants to flip you off, as long as he's playing well, as a fan, I don't think I would care. All right, back to it. JT. Every NFL team should play in a retractable dome.
Year round or just the playoffs?
Whenever weather should not be influencing professional sports. So should every team have a retractable dome? Year round.
Absolutely. And the Bills are the reason why. Like Josh Allen playing in crappy snow games cost me thousands of fantasy dollars. So yes, everybody should play in the dome. If the weather is crap outside, I don't want those old ass Heinz Field games where the field is all tore up. Put me in the dome. I'm a Florida boy, so definitely put me in the dome.
JT, it don't matter where the Dolphins play; they're gonna lose anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Hey, I tell you what, you can say what you want to. Put the Steelers in the Heat; they ain't the same team. We've seen that in person.
Yeah, because we don't practice in the heat like you do. That's the home field advantage, right? If you want a retractable roof, you don't get the heat and humidity of South Florida if you get the retractable roof. So you lose home field advantage too. I'm going to say it's foul, Germ, except it should be perfect weather conditions for the Super Bowl.
Well, so that's okay. Go ahead, Bert. I'll tell you why.
I mean, you know me. I think it's fair. I want retractable roofs. Not necessarily. I mean, look, obviously, as you know, a fantasy owner, as someone who could potentially gamble on sports games, it's easier to make your bets knowing that if everybody's playing in somewhat perfect conditions, they have the fair shot. Now, home field advantage is just as much the weather as it is knowing your home or arena, stadium fans. Let it get loud in there. Let them be behind you. I get that too. But as a spectator and as a fan, I'm more inclined to go to a game if there's a retractable roof. And coming from a Giant fan and going and freezing my ass off to watch them lose, I have vowed to never do that again. Mm-hmm. So unless they somehow build a roof on MetLife, I'm certainly not going back.
Adam says no, and then why doesn't money? That's why everybody doesn't play in the dome. It costs a lot of money, but I think it's a return on investment. The reason this is 2022, not 1922. I don't believe in home field advantage. This is a multi-billion-dollar business, multi-million-dollar athletes. And I don't want my athletes being influenced by the weather. I don't care. Like you said, Josh Allen could not play at the height of his powers because of the weather a couple weeks ago. And he's not going to be able to do it this weekend because it's going to be -4 degrees outside. And so, why would I? And this is a playoff game. Like, why would anybody? That's not football. Watching a 9-3 handoff fest is not enjoyable football. So even as a product, the NFL should think about doing this because you want a better product. I don't care what anybody says. It's not real football. It was real football when the players were also the milk guy. And you know what I mean? So it's not like that was when it was real football and they didn't wear helmets. Like we have concussions now. Didn't you see the Will Smith movie? Like shit is serious. We need to make sure the game is as safe as it can possibly be for the players. And you can still have home field advantage. I'm not talking about when it's cold outside, put up the dome. If it's retractable, if it's blizzarding outside or it's downpouring rain. If it's cold, then yeah, you could keep it open, like whatever, if that's what you want to do. But you should at least have that option because you want these players to play at the best optimal position. I feel like this is more of an issue for Jerm because the Mets were constantly rained out this past season. Yeah, this extends to baseball. We have TVs in the refrigerator now, Adam. We shouldn't be canceling baseball games because it's raining. I mean, Jesus. I mean, what are we doing here?
But then you have teams like the Marlins that can't get it right. They have a retractable roof and they still had a rain delay on opening day a few years ago. So, I mean,
that's the Marlins, though. I mean, that doesn't count. That's a bad barometer.
I'm just saying, though. I'm just saying, JT,
taking gigs at Miami teams. You love Miami,
right, JT.
You miss Miami. But honestly, like I just think that you want to see the best team win, right? Like weather can affect that. Like if I'm a team that runs the ball and then the Bills are a team that they just pass the ball, they can't run the ball to save their lives. Like if they're in a game where they can't pass the ball, like you're handicapping them. Like I don't see why you don't, like you said, why you don't want to put the best product on the field. Like because I want to see Josh Allen see if he can put up 50 points. Like I want to see that.
But it really is about
I don't want to see Najee Harris run 500 times for 2 yards to carry.
But it really is about home field. You don't think the Packers had that undefeated streak at Lambeau for a reason? Like there's a reason for it. Buffalo, if the Dolphins go up to Buffalo in January for a playoff game, that's a huge advantage. I don't care how the game looks. If you're the Buffalo Bills, you want it to snow, to be cold.
It's not the cold.
It's not the cold. It's the elements.
Like, okay, yeah. the elements. That's all part of it. You don't think Buffalo is more suited?
You want a playoff game. You want a playoff game with the weather conditions that when the Bills played the Patriots, where you couldn't do anything. Like
for the playoffs,
kick the ball, it's going the other way. Like you want that to determine your Super Bowl champion.
For the playoffs, I don't mind. For the Super Bowl, no. There's a difference.
Well, that's another reason why
Buffalo earned that home field. They should get it.
But that's another reason why you would probably want a retractable dome because the Bills can never host a Super Bowl. I know New York and New Jersey did it a couple years ago, but they'll never do that again because that was an awful game because of the weather.
I agree.
Mm-hmm. And so you open up the economy because now all these teams who are outside, and I know people like the counter argument people are giving me whenever I have this conversation is only 3 dome teams have won the Super Bowl in X amount of years. But I'm like, well, that's kind of unfair because most of the teams are outdoor teams. Like that's. And that's, but if your argument was Lambeau, if Lambeau probably had a dome, they probably would have got a lot more than 1 Super Bowl out of Aaron Rodgers. I mean,
why do you say that?
Because the home field advantage clearly didn't work. You have the greatest quarterback we've ever seen play, and you can only get 1 Super Bowl out of him.
And maybe
all those playoff games.
Maybe they just weren't
at Lambeau.
Maybe they just weren't that maybe they weren't better than the team they were playing. Tampa was obviously better than them last year. But the only reason maybe why Green Bay was in that game was because of the weather.
Adam Thatcher said nobody wants to go to Buffalo no matter what because they suck. All right, man. All right, enough of you. At least it's not
for Niagara Falls.
Yeah,
you just want to keep the Steelers relevant with those crappy weather games. That's all that's about.
You have not lived. I know Bert's going to disagree. You have not lived until you've gone to a football game in 0-degree weather. You've not lived, man.
No, I think I've lived. I've lived. Yeah. I saw a Giants Cowboys game, man. It was probably 8 degrees outside, and of course, in typical Giant fashion, they were getting just completely smacked around. So I think it was literally at the end of the third quarter. I looked at my brother. I was like, "You ready?" He's like, "Yeah, let's get the fuck out of here." So and I'm talking dude, had to be at least 4 or 5 layers on me, thick boots, like thick everything, just to make sure. And no, that was just. That was literally the last time I was like, I'm not doing this again. It's not happening.
The Cowboys are the least trustworthy playoff team.
Ooh. I say foul. I think it's the Titans. I just don't trust them at all.
Dig it. I dig it. Don?
Foul. I mean, it's got to be the Steelers.
Yeah. Bert?
Yeah, I gotta say foul. I mean, there's a couple from this list you can look at. I mean, shit, Eagles, Raiders. To a certain extent, you can even look at the Niners. Yeah, I'm gonna say foul on that one.
I'm gonna say fair because it's the Cowboys, and they're always gonna cowboy it up. And it's really not really about and I know we joke about the Cowboys, but they literally drew the worst matchup for them out of the NFC competitors. Outside of the Packers, like the 49ers have what can neutralize them. Dak Prescott ain't going to be able to pass all over them like he's been doing against like the Eagles. You know what I mean? So, and they're going to keep them off the field because they can run the ball, and they don't have nobody that can stop Deebo Samuel. So I think I trust them the least amount. Aren't the Eagles supposed to be trustworthy? I mean, the Eagles. I like what Nick Sirianni's done with the Eagles. Again, the Eagles have won a Super Bowl a lot more recently than the Cowboys have, so I have no reason not to trust the Eagles. Mm-hmm. Next one. Oh, no, this one doesn't count. Oh, the Seahawks have been the most disappointing team this season.
You know what? Yeah, free Russ. Hell yeah, fair.
Yeah,
fair. It's been a train wreck. If Seahawks fans or the Seahawks owner is listening to this show, yes, it's been a train wreck. Blow it up, free Russ, send them somewhere else. DK's been a train wreck. Pete Carroll's been a train wreck. You got Rashad Penny, who's like 300 pounds running the ball now. Like it's absolute shit. So that's definitely fair.
It's foul. They're in a very difficult division. They're in the NFC West, right?
Yeah.
How many playoff teams does the NFC West got?
3.
There you go. 3. Foul.
Gotcha. Good point.
I'm going foul, man. You can point to some other teams that are probably like bigger disappointments. I'm looking at Cleveland for one. The weapons they had, and especially the way Baker came off the season last year and going into this one. Now, obviously, injuries aside because they happen, but still, you just expect better from an organization. You can even say the Ravens too, but I think I'm going to stick with the Browns for this one.
I'm going to go with the LA Rams. You guys traded the world for Matt Stafford. You guys started the season off so hot. This was supposed to be the year. And we've seen you do nothing but struggle and barely, the only reason you guys have the 4 seed is because you started off so damn hot. I could probably put them as the least trustworthy playoff team because I don't see anything like Matt and Bert almost had me, man. I said, hey, Matt Stafford ain't going to do jack shit because he's been a loser for 12 years in Detroit. He's him and Matt Ryan, the head of the Hall of Very Good. Everybody keeps telling me, oh, no, Matt Stafford's really good. No, he's not. He was in Detroit for 12 years and only got to the playoffs 3 times in the NFC. Like, enough, Matt. But then he started the season super hot, and I kind of had to shut up about it. But here we go. Matt Ryan, the one that we all know and love, the one who was promised, is here to deliver us for mediocre football that people think is somehow good. And so based on I don't even think the Rams have any draft picks because they traded them all away for Matthew Stafford. And, I mean, they probably are going to lose to the Cardinals. I mean, who knows? So we'll see in the first round of the playoffs. I mean, that's staring them down. That's Beryl is staring them right down in the face. So I'm going to say them. Teams should tank in sports. Always tank. If you're not good, teams should always tank in sports.
Fair. If you're not first, you're last. So you might as well, make it count while you're down there.
Fair always is obviously a strong word, but I would say in general, fair.
Gotcha.
I mean, it's fair. It's happening. Pick a sport. It happens. It's what teams have to do to rebuild sometimes, so it's fair. If you don't like it, reset your morals. It's the nature of the business.
It's absolutely fair, because the worst thing you can be in sports is 8-8. And it's not anybody's fault other than the leagues, because this is the system they have in place. And the only way to be good, if you don't have money, is to draft well and hopefully catch lightning in a bottle with some of these rookie contracts, specifically in the NFL. In the NBA, it's usually one or two guys that you get, and those guys are always at the top of the draft. And so, I'm surprised there's not, the Sixers made it famous, but I'm surprised there's not a lot more tanking in the NBA than there is. But
Jerm, let me ask all of you guys this though. How I feel like it's difficult to tank though, because if my contract's on the line and I'm a vet, or I'm a third year guy and my contract is up, and I know, I haven't played great so far in the first 20 games and we're 1-19. Yes, the organization may want us to tank, but the actual players going out there, I mean, you're going to see them play hard like the Detroit Lions did. They don't care about the draft pick because they need a contract. Yes, the Cade Cunninghams with the Detroit Pistons or the Detroit Lions, their top young picks will be okay, but the rest of the roster is not the top young picks, so they're going to play hard. I think that's why it's hard, unless you put a really, really bad product like a bunch of G League guys that shouldn't even be in the G League. Like in the NBA, it's hard to tank consistently. So that's why I think you don't see a lot of teams. I don't know what you guys feel.
It's
OKC always does it.
Yeah.
Adam says, is it unfair to the fans, though, and the season ticket holders? Bert, I'll let you answer, and then I'll get to him.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's tough to, you're just seeing it openly tank. I mean, it happens in other sports, and especially football, too. Look, from a player standpoint, they're always going to play hard. But if you're on a team that's tanking and you're one of the top players, and you know for a fact that we're tanking because we're going to rebuild, I'm calling my agent, and I'm saying, that clause, get that out of there and get me out of this city. I need to play for a team that has a better opportunity of winning. Baseball wise, I mean, look what the Orioles did last year. Did they completely give up on the season? No, but the product they put on the field was your AAA guys, your guys that were just coming up for a shot. So were they playing hard? Yeah, because they're trying to earn themselves roster spots for the future. Are they the best in the MLB? Fuck no. That's why they lost. So I mean, is it always tough? Yeah, but getting to the fans, is it easy? Is it unfair to the fans and season ticket holders? Yeah, it's unfair because they bought season tickets. You have to go watch them tank or watch them lose. But as a fan, you have to recognize the potential in the future too. So does it suck that you already paid that money and you're on the hook to watch the games? Yeah, but you know what? Sit there, have a beer, have a hot dog, shut up and watch the game,
Adam, I hear you.
Ask your question, though. I'll rebuttal that. Do you think of all the the cities where, I know Don tells me this all the time, he would love an NBA team in Pittsburgh. Don, would you care if they were tanking? You just, like you said, you just want to have your beer, hot dog, and just go watch anything.
I'm an Orlando Magic fan. I wish they would tank every year until they got LeBron James of the draft. No, they don't.
I watched them last night.
They just look that bad, but they're not tanking because they always win enough games.
It's orchestrated.
They always win enough games to pick 5 or 6. You look at their top draft picks, Shaq, Penny, and Dwight Howard, when they had the number 1 overall picks. That's what you need to do to win. I wish my team would tank.
Adam says, if you had to see, listen, I'm a Sixers fan, so I have firsthand knowledge of what this is about. Adam Thatcher, I hear you. Season ticket holders, fans, little Jimmy, little Sally, Pop's bringing you to the game. And you know what I say to that, Adam? Fuck them fans. Hey, do you want to be good this season or you want to be good for the next 10 years? Let me tell you something. The Sixers, Sam Hinkie said, hey, fans, sorry, buddy. We are going for generational talent. And to do that, we have to accumulate assets. And the only way to do that, because the NBA has this system in place, is to tank. So we're going to tank for the next couple years. If you want a season ticket, 10% off. Come get a hot dog and a t-shirt. Shut the fuck up. And guess what we got out of it? We got Joel Embiid, who is a generational talent. That's how you do it. Started winning 50 games like that. Ben Simmons, listen, we had a couple misses, but that's what happens when you get a bunch of draft picks. Ben Simmons' situation is a little bit different, but at the end of the day, we got those two players who are generational players, and we immediately became a top 3 seed in the East and in playoffs. And, we had some bad luck in the playoffs or whatever, but you can't say that it didn't work. Now, Mike asked earlier to do a tank rank. What leagues benefited? So I would say hockey's last, and it's not really about the system because I think they're similar to the NBA. And I put the NBA first because it's easier to do it because we've seen it do it because there's less players and it's easier to move those contracts and move those players. Hockey's a little bit different because the game is just not as popular. They don't have enough money. They can't do it. They have a system in place, kind of like baseball does, to kind of hide players, but these teams have to put good product on the field, on the ice, or
They
else,
do.
it
is. I mean, huge hockey guy here. It's wildly noticeable, but on top of that too, I mean, even drafting better doesn't necessarily mean instant results in itself. I mean, especially with the way the farm system is with the NHL, your payoff could be years down the line, and especially how young they draft kids, similar to like the MLB too. Yeah, so definitely not hockey. I don't know. Definitely football has to be first then, right?
Now, here we go. This is the answer to your question. This is how you do it, Don. Yes, the players are always going to play hard. I don't believe in players tanking. I believe in organizations tanking. So you know what you do? Hey, buddy, we're about to tank. If you don't want to be here, we'll move you. We'll move you for the cheap. We'll get as many picks and as many assets as we can. We don't care what it is. And you tank that way by putting the practice squad players out there. Right. You don't tank by we're just going to move you. We have to. Hey, if you want to be here, we're going to go, let's say, a 2-year plan. We're probably going to not be very good. Go out there and play, but we're going to get rid of as many assets as we can, and we're not going to keep anybody worth a damn. Hey, if you're an XFL type player or a CFL player, come on over, get some NFL tape on you. This is going to be a 2-year preseason, guys, and because we're trying to collect number 1 draft picks. And guess what? We're going to draft this quarterback, and we're not going to play him immediately. You're going to sit down like Aaron Rodgers did. You're going to sit down like Patrick Mahomes did behind probably a not very good quarterback, but at least you're going to learn the game, and we're going to bring you along slowly. And kind of like what the 49ers are doing with Trey Lance. They're not in a rush to start him. They're cool with Jimmy G, even though Jimmy G is not anything special. And that's how you do it. And they're going to be good for 10 years eventually. It's going to happen within the next couple of years. Trey Lance is going to take over, and the 49ers are going to be one of those top 5 teams we're always talking about. So that's how that's going to go. We only got a few more here. Tom Brady deserves MVP over Aaron Rodgers.
Ooh, we just talked about that. Foul. I mean, Rodgers has the stats. I mean, only 4 interceptions. Like, that's crazy. I mean, he owns his division. Like, it's not even close. And I just feel like if you take Rodgers out of that situation, like, I don't even know if they make the playoffs. Like, he's that important. Like, I know I'm not saying Brady is not important, but there's a reason like Vegas has a gap in them for odds for MVP for a reason. Like, Aaron Rodgers is the most important and most valuable person to his team. Like, I mean, when the Bucks are healthy, like, are you sure like maybe like the 5th or 6th best quarterback can go in there and like with all those weapons they have and like still win games? Like, I'm in the camp of like, I don't think Green Bay is as talented as people make them out to be. It's one guy. It's Devontae Adams. Like, if you have Jordan Love throwing to him, you see what that looks like. They would have like 9 to 10 losses.
You said Brady over Rodgers. That's foul.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Aaron Rodgers. They're the number 1 seed, and Tampa is the number 2 seed, and a lot of it is Aaron Rodgers playing a little bit better than Tom Brady, and that's why they're the number 1 seed, and that's why he is that's why he should be MVP. And JT, you took my thunder with the Vegas thing because I always bring that up. If Vegas is putting you as the odds-on favorite, there is a reason, and it's because he is the MVP.
Yeah, and easily agree. Foul. I mean, it's Aaron Rodgers through and through.
It's fair. Tom Brady has more passing yards. Tom Brady has more yards per game. Tom Brady has more passing touchdowns. Tom Brady has more 4-touchdown games, and Tom Brady has more 350-plus yard passing games.
Is that
all
because
without
Tom Brady
Devontae
just
Adams.
played the last game of the season, but Aaron Rodgers didn't have to?
Well, it's because Aaron Rodgers had COVID too. He missed one other game, so he really missed 2 games in there.
Yeah, his acai berry immunization frog juice didn't help him out with that one. So it's Rodgers far and beyond. I think the bigger argument is coach of the year. That's a good one too. I mean, you can give it. I mean, coach of the year. I would give it to Mike Vrabel, to be honest. I mean, because people counted out the Titans and they didn't think they were worth a damn, and a lot of people still don't think they're worth a damn. But you can't argue with him being the number 1 seed and when they got written off. And I would definitely give it to Mike Vrabel, because I think the Titans get overlooked. I don't think enough people talk about how good they are. Last one, big story last week with Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown will get another chance to play in the NFL.
Oh, fair. I mean, he's still. I know he's hurt, but you turn on the tape this year. AB is
he
still
hurt
AB.
though?
Like, yeah, he is. He's still AB. Like, even in that Jets game I was watching, like his ankle might have been, detached from his body, but he put a Jets DB in a blender. Like he still got it like that. So as long as you got talent, somebody somewhere will give you a shot. I don't know who it is, but somebody will give him a shot when he's healthy.
Do you think, Jeremy, you bring up a good question. Like, is he really hurt? Do you think if the Steelers called him up and said, hey, we're kind of thin at receiver, like we don't got these playmakers like we used to, you think you can postpone that surgery and come play? Do you think he'd show up?
Booming ASAP.
What's that?
Booming
ASAP. He said. Yep.
ASAP.
Yep.
Be there.
He was doing cartwils in the end zone, JT. Enough.
Yeah.
I agree.
Enough.
I agree.
He ain't hurt as bad
Come
as he's
on.
saying.
I mean, yeah. I feel like it's not fair because like everybody makes it seem if a player's not being carted off the field, like he's not hurt. Like the man, people
But
can
you
walk
just
hurt.
said he
The
smoked.
team,
You just
the
said
team
he smoked the
doctors.
Jets DB.
Yeah.
So he obviously was
He did,
fine.
I mean, but he
Yeah,
probably
this
has some good
elite
painkillers.
Jets DB from a team that checks notes went 4-13 during the regular season.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
But I'm just saying, like, I think if he is still playing the way he played this year when healthy, I mean, like, a contender would be dumb not to at least like check it out to see what's there. Like, he's gonna get another shot.
It's foul. He's not.
It's foul.
And here's why. Because the only reason he got 2 second shots after that whole ordeal with the Raiders is because of one guy, Tom Brady. Tom Brady is the one that talked the Pats organization into hiring him, and that was short-lived because of everything that was going on. And then again, for the Bucks, got him a ring, and he's absolutely done. He's more of an organizational risk at this point, both on and off the field, for people to sign him. Now, we've all been surprised before, and it is the NFL, which isn't exactly, the most ethical company in the world when it comes to hiring people. I mean, shit, they make the International Olympic Committee look like saints. So, we could be pleasantly surprised, but I personally don't think he'll be back.
Steve Zuccari says he's on the Kaepernick T.O. no fly blacklist. I don't know about
I don't think
that.
it's fair to put him in the same category as Kaepernick or T.O.
It's a little bit
because I would
different,
stand behind both of them before I stand behind AB for sure.
Yeah. I agree with you, Bert and Don. It's foul. And it was only really because of one thing. It was what he did when he left.
Mm-hmm.
You quit on the Raiders, and that was one thing, the way he quit there. But how he quit on the Bucks, a team will never bring that into their locker room, no matter how talented he is. You can't throw your gear on the sideline and throw gear into the crowd. And while the team is actively in a huddle on the field, doing jumping jacks and running into the field, waving in the end zone, like that type of clown show shit is not like a team. You can't do it. You can't explain it to your fans. You can't imagine if the Dolphins did that. How can Stephen Ross explain that to the Dolphins?
You
fans?
really want me to answer that as a Dolphins fan? First of all, we'll tell them to sit down and shut up because you ain't got the right to talk to us about anything. But I mean, you guys bring up good points, but think about it this way: guys have come back in the NFL from worse, and also too, like coaches do this all the time. Somebody somewhere always looks at a player, whether it's behavioral issues like AB, or it's talent issues, them not living up to their potential. Some coach is going to be like, you know what? That kid still has it. I'm the one that can fix him and get it under control. Like Tom Brady thought it was him. He did it for a while. Like some coach's ego, if he can still play, will say like, I can fix him.
I don't know. I mean, that this is his third coaching strike. I mean, look, he ran Tomlin through the ringer. It was more than patient with him after learning his true personality as all this has come out. I mean, John Gruden, we all know what a terrible person he is, but at the time, he just wanted him to report to camp. And now, you know, Bruce Arians, despite what he may say, if they want him to play injured, you know, whatever goes on behind the scenes, it's the NFL. So we know every single coach has that conversation with their guys. Like, listen, are you good enough to play? And if they're like, I don't know, they're like, yeah, we'll have the trainers fix you up and you'll go out there. I mean, we know the nature of the league. Doesn't make it right, but it's out there. And after pulling what he did, man, and Jerm brought up a good point. You can't sit there and just actively quit on your team. If you think you're bigger than your team, that's the issue. And that's exactly what happened.
His claims would have held more water if he didn't carry on and act the way he did.
If he would just sat on the bench.
If he would have either or just quietly walk to the back, keep all your shit on and walk, just don't run through the end zone, quietly walk around the side, slap some fans' hands, you know, do it quietly, you know, and if your claims are true, which apparently if you read the release statement from the Buccaneers, it sounds like everything AB said was a lie. You know, I just, you know, a team isn't going to actively do that to a player because they have other players they have to worry about. And I don't think they're single-handedly targeting Antonio Brown. They would have no reason to. You don't want Antonio Brown on your team in terms of what he can bring to you on the field. Why would they lie about it? You know what I mean? So it's like, and your track record is just bad, man. Like it just, you can't expect people to take you seriously with these claims when it's the team doctors cleared you. You're bringing up some doctors that nobody even knows about that, you know, you could have had that x-ray done many years ago. Who knows how new that is? The team doctors checked you out, the team doctors x-rayed you, and the team doctors cleared you to play. That's it.
So he was on a podcast, not one of our two great podcasts. He was on a podcast earlier this week, and he was complaining. I don't know if you guys heard it. He was complaining about, you know, oh, why bring me back on a non-guaranteed contract, this and that. So that leads me to believe there was no like bait in the water for him that he had to go back to Tampa. He had no other options. And that was after he had a touchdown in the Super Bowl. He was on his best behavior in years. They won a Super Bowl. He made a lot of big plays for them leading up to the Super Bowl and in the Super Bowl. And still no one wanted him. You couldn't get a guaranteed contract without all these major incentives, AB. So JT, that's why I think no one's going to take a chance. Now, especially what Jerm Burt said, you quit on your team 3 times in the middle of a game, acting like a 5-year-old, doing jumping jacks, like, and no one wanted you to begin with, because if they did, you would have signed somewhere else for the guarantee money and then not go on a podcast and complain about why didn't I get a guaranteed contract? Because no one wanted you.
Well, I hear what you guys are saying. Like the quitting thing, like that's if he doesn't get another shot, it'll be because of that. But I feel like what you're saying about, okay, yeah, he didn't get a big guaranteed deal from everyone else.
It's not even a big guarantee. He didn't get a guaranteed contract from
anybody. He didn't get one of those deals. Like I think that had more to do with the fact that this is how the NFL is. Like once they can put the word out that you're not worth X amount of money, like everybody's gonna get you for cheap. Like no matter who you are. Like AB could have been the same, and if the word is out, like hey, like we're only going to sign him to like 1 year, you know, non-guaranteed deals. Like he could be a choir boy and they're still going to sign him to that. And that reason why, you know, as long as AB is talented, he's always going to be cheap. That's why I think somebody may take the plunge on him.
Maybe that. I mean, I saw those podcast clips too. That was after he claimed that he was the best weapon on the Bucs, which is laughable in itself and certainly arguable. But
is it though? When healthy, you don't think AB's the best receiver on their team when healthy?
Chris Godwin is the best receiver.
Godwin.
On that
I mean,
team.
you have Mike Evans too. I mean, look, the competition is absolutely there, and the guys that are still there and putting in the work. But I mean, look, he wants to sit here and wonder why it wasn't guaranteed money like some of the other players on the team. Look at his track record. You think someone's going to watch what he did at Pittsburgh and you know, now Vegas, but with the Raiders and then certainly with the Pats and have a risk? And you're like, no, you have to come in and earn it. I mean, your play within the league has been spotty at best. So why are we going to sit there and give you money because we think you can still perform at that level? No, you haven't showed anybody over the past 2-3 years that you can perform in that level. So come in and earn that money. He had his opportunity, like Don said, man, and he trashed it away, unfortunately.
Not even that. Like a lot of his off the field issues aren't even resolved yet. So that plays into a part why he didn't get any guaranteed money. Adam says he's hanging out with Kanye, so we can throw this argument in. Yeah, once you hang out with Kanye, it's over. So Godwin is the best receiver on that team. AB is an amazing talent. Listen, nobody's questioning his talent, but the risk has to outweigh the reward. Or the risk now is outweighing the reward. Typically the Josh Gordons, people don't really like. They only care about weed because it's illegal in the NFL. But like his situation, he just can't get out of his own way. You know what I mean? Like he hasn't really done anything off the field other than continue to fail drug tests. Like you'll take a chance on that if you think you can. That's something that's manageable, right? To an extent, you'll always take a chance on that because all he's doing is smoking weed. But like AB is a totally different. That's a totally different beast.
AB ruins locker rooms. So
he does.
Why would you bring that in?
Yeah, he's already proved it. All right, guys, what everybody's been waiting for, Bucket of Doom playoff eliminator challenge. I threw everybody's name in this bad boy, and I threw it in the old randomizer.com. And, of course, I sat there too long and have to redo it because now I didn't believe. Oh, here we go. So the number one is – number one is Frank Novick. Bert, is there a way you can, write this down for me so I don't forget?
Oh, hell yeah.
Or else I'm going to have to go back and, watch it. So Frank Novick has the LA Rams. So they're playing the Cards, right? The first one. That's
yep.
So sorry you have to deal with Matt Stafford. Josh Perez, you're up, buddy. I'm doing a little rummage for you. The Philadelphia Eagles. All right, hometown team. All right, there you go. All right, let's see.
He hates that though.
I bet you he does. That's not good. He doesn't now. Let's see. Michael A. Simmons, friend of the show, Cincinnati Bengals, the team that me predicted in our way too early prediction show. I'm going to keep mentioning it every time the Bengals do something good.
Keep mentioning you are too, just in case people forget.
I am Jerm.
Yeah,
I'm Jerm from the Stuff About Sports podcast, and I said on our way too early prediction show that the Bengals were going to win the AFC North, and guess what they did? They laughed at your boy, and who's laughing now? I am. All right. Mike McGurr, a.k.a. Michael Sean. You have the Pittsburgh Steelers. Darryl Bell, you have the Dallas Cowboys. That sucks because he's an Eagles fan too. All right, Don, you are up. Brandon DeWitt asks, saying, no, every week, because that way, nobody wants to get stuck with the Eagles all the way through. Sorry. So we're going to pick every week if you make it through. That was not the rules last year. Last year we repicked every week too.
Pick me a good one, Jerm.
Okay, Don, you're up.
First time guess.
Here we go. I know, man. Here you go. Here's to Buffalo. Let's see if you can get it. All right. The Tennessee Titans.
All right,
they have a bye week. You're a winner.
This week. Yeah,
You're safe. Automatic win for the Don. So I did get you a good one.
Good pick, Jerm.
Yeah. Brandon DeWitt, you are up next. Brandon has the Arizona Cardinals. All right. Adam Thatcher, you're up. The Vegas Raiders. All right, Jimmy. You're up, buddy. The Green Bay Packers. You also have a bye. How the hell did our two guys? I'm telling you, this was not done on purpose.
Someone's going to say this is rigged.
He's going to complain about this. Watch.
Yeah, there we go.
Everybody's going to complain.
I finally have him beat, and you got to go help him out, Jerm.
My bad.
Fantasy basketball. You know what, Jerm?
No.
I'm not feeling the love on this show, man.
I'm so sorry, man. I promise you. You guys watch me pick. I didn't look in the bucket once. That is crazy. That this happened.
You an extra fantasy basketball.
You're never watching this again. Sorry, Adam. My bad, buddy. Steve, your pick did not happen. I think I'm picking for you right now. You're next. Steve Zuccari. You have the Kansas City Chiefs. He just popped into the comment section and asked if he's at work trying to watch. You have the Chiefs, buddy. Good pick. All right. Lawrence Whitaker, you have the Buffalo Bills, buddy. All right, we're going to take care of you, but man, I swear we are. Chaos Kaz, we're getting down to the brass tacks. The Tampa Bay Bucks for Kaz, friend of the show, long time. Our girl James Snyder, shout out to her. She wanted to do it this year. She has the Saints. She's mad at that. She's from the Green Bay area, so she wanted Green Bay. She told me earlier, which means Steve Waldman, you have the Patriots because that's the last team in the bucket. So there you have it, guys. JT and the Don with first round buys, which is unbelievable. Unbelievable. We did not plan it. It's not rigged. So congrats to everybody. Hopefully we'll see most of you. Obviously, we'll see JT and the Don next week. Bert, before we get to the game ball, we have a couple polls to update that we put on social media. Got a lot of interaction. Let's see. Let me go back to the beginning. Does everybody watch the title game, the Georgia Alabama? Did we get a glimpse of the rare picture of Andrew Luck, the rare beast that is Andrew Luck?
He does not look good.
He does not look good. I was going to ask, does he look better while he was playing football, the violent sport of football, or in retirement? Because he looks awful.
He looks like he's been trapped in a van for 3 months and can only eat hot sauce packets. Like he's not good.
So we had 53 votes. Does Andrew Luck look like he has a train collection and is super excited to see you? Never happened before, Bert. 100% said yes. Is Mike Tomlin someone to be trifled with? 48 votes. 75% said no. Hell no. I don't even think he blinks. I don't think I've ever seen Mike Tomlin blink. Does Carson Wentz fall in sections? 56 votes. Bert, this has never happened before. 100% said yes.
Yeah. They all came from Philly, too. Those are the votes.
Yes. Should Derek Carr win MVP simply based on what the Raiders have put him through just this season? 83% said no. I don't think they got the joke there. I was trying to shoot him some bail. Does Josh Allen look like let's fucking go? 89% of the vote said yes. Live animals as mascots, cute or cruel? Ooh, that's cruel, man. Like I said, we talked about it earlier. 55% of the vote, we had 50 votes on there, said cruel. And then I have 3 more, I think, somewhere around here. Oh, I didn't save them. I'm an idiot. We had like 3 more, but I had to screenshot them because the 24-hour limit was up. All right, guys, this was an awesome show. We're going to finish it off with the game ball. Do you guys have any game balls to give out?
Yeah, I do.
Go for it.
And it could be any sport, right? Doesn't need to be
anything.
football.
Yep, anything from the world of sports. Anything.
Got it. Mine's going to go to Rachel Balkovitz, the first female manager in minor league baseball. I mean, that is historic, and congrats to her in the Yankees affiliation, the Tampa Tarpoons. So congrats to her. Game ball to her.
Yes.
Yeah, he stole mine. That's exactly what I had written down. So I want to give props to her as well. And I'll give an honorary game ball to Dave Gettleman. So just walking away, making everybody's life better, mine included. So definitely props to him for walking away from the job.
Yeah, hat trick on the game ball because that was mine as well. But I will shift to John Mara making the right decision and firing Joe Judge and making hopefully the Giants organization a better place.
Let me see. I found the other polls before I give out my game ball. Should you be bragging about winning the NFC East? 87% of the vote said no. Speaking of Joe Judge, can you lose to a team you previously called a clown show and then beaten by them and then still keep your job? Now, I put this before he got fired, but 83% said no. And this one's for you, JT. Are the Miami Dolphins playing a dangerous game? This one had the most votes at 78 votes. Bert, this has never happened before. 100% said yes.
Yeah,
they're playing a dangerous game.
I don't know what we're doing, but we're doing something very dangerous.
Very, very dangerous. My game ball is actually going to go to Kirby Smart. breaking that curse, 41 years for and then beating the powerhouse that's Alabama. I feel like they didn't. Like Nick Saban's had a cheat code for as many years as he's been there. I feel like he doesn't even have to recruit. I'm pretty sure he just Zoom recruits now because it's Alabama, and I'm tired of seeing them. I feel like they gave the UGA player the Alabama championship hat, because they always print both. I'm pretty sure they like pre-print Alabama hats every year from now until like 2030 because they just assume they're going to be there. Obviously, they weren't expecting them, but tough shit, Alabama. Your hats and championship shirts are going over to Africa, so enjoy it. So shout out to Georgia and Kirby Smart for winning the national championship game. Don, JT, this was a fantastic show. I've had so much fun. Hopefully you guys did too.
Absolutely. A lot of fun. Thank you again for having us.
Oh, of course. You guys can follow them at JT and the Don on Instagram. Search for JT and the Don wherever you get your podcast, Google, Spotify, wherever you'll find them. And Bert, we'll be back actually, me and Bert, you can catch us tomorrow. We're going to do a GOAT Talk with Marcus. We're going to be a guest on his show tomorrow. And then you'll catch us next week at our usual time on Tuesday. So for Bert, JT, and the Don, thank you guys for joining us, and we will talk to you next week.